Here. Let's bring in managing partner at Wilds and Weinberg, immigration attorney for Melania Trump and her family, author of Safe Haven in America, Battles to Open the Golden Door. Michael Wilds, we appreciate you joining us. Let's watch the video of President Trump's inauguration day, and then we'll address this topic after.
And by invoking the Alien Enemies Act of 1798, I will direct our government to use the full and immense power of federal and state law enforcement to eliminate the presence of all foreign gangs.
Michael, Trump made it very clear from day one this would be in place. He was openly transparent of this. Why is there such critical feedback, especially from the ACLU?
I think it has a lot to do with the execution of this. Thank you, Joe, for hosting me. This law was set up at a time when America was actually fighting pirates on the high seas. It was invoked 3 times, the War of 1812 and then World War I and World War II. It was designed to protect America in times of war from espionage and sabotage. Well, here the president issued a proclamation, and he was transparent the entire time that he was going to rid ourselves of these dastardly criminals. In his proclamation, he uses words such as unlawfully infiltrated, irregular warfare, and he's sounding as if this is wartime. Of course, that is objected by the ACLU and those that stand on the opposite side of the aisle, basically saying that we want evidentiary support, we want due process. Seal the hearings if you want to do something privately, but make sure that there is a record that's completed before we remove people. And finally, we're not in a wartime. If you want to declare war, have Congress that he controls all both houses of Congress and the executive, then declare war and do this properly. These are the procedural objectives. I don't think any American wants these hardened criminals to remain in America, but we have to make sure, as an example to other nations, that we have the exemplar due process at all times.
Some are saying, Michael, the Trump administration defied the judge's order, but according to the Trump administration, the process of removing the alleged gang members had already started with those planes in the air over the weekend and on their way to El Salvador. The Trump administration, like you said, invoked the Alien Enemies Act, but the judge said he needed more time and facts. Did the Trump administration do everything by the books, or do critics have a case here?
I think this is a case of first impression. The president was transparent that he was going to take this action. I don't like the back and forth on television outside of the White House where people are arguing that the president has the unilateral right to do something. We have a checks and balance system. A federal judge should not be ignored. The White House should not be mincing words between an oral argument and a written finding. You know, judges object all the time orally. That's made part of a record. So I think that there has to be some semblance of respect. Again, we are the world's cop, and they're watching how we're doing this. And more importantly, Joe, our children are watching how we confront problems. Are we going to do it smartly? Are we going to do it properly? Yes, I think it's very smart to take the worst hardened criminals, and we see videos of them throughout with machine guns in our city streets and urban corridors. I happen to be a mayor of a city in New Jersey, Englewood, New Jersey. I would not want these people in our cities, these hardened criminals. But I would also want to make sure that no good person got caught up and that due process was accorded, because that's who we are. Despite the kind of criminality and terrorists that have infiltrated our nation, we're going to act with a sense of justice and make sure that people have a day in court and then they're expeditedly removed. I'm a former federal prosecutor. Understand my politic on this. As a proud Democrat, I am a conservative on this. I do not want them here, but I do want to have a proper record.
All right, Michael Wilds, we appreciate your input as always, sir. Thank you for the context. This continued throughout the week. On Friday, there's a hearing. We'll find out how it ends. Michael, thank you. Fanchon?